Good afternoon and welcome to Pakistan Today News from our New York studio. I'm Chris Taylor. We begin with a major development from Washington, where U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that American forces will leave Iran very soon, possibly within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Speaking at the White House, President Trump said the United States has largely achieved its military objectives and no longer needs to remain engaged in the conflict. He added that any potential deal with Iran is now irrelevant, emphasizing that Washington's primary goal was to eliminate nuclear threats rather than pursue negotiations. The announcement marks the clearest timeline yet for a possible U.S. withdrawal, signaling what could be the beginning of the end to weeks of escalating tensions in the region. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has intensified criticism of NATO, raising questions about the future of the alliance. In an interview with Fox News, Rubio warned that Washington may reconsider its role in NATO once the Iran conflict concludes. He pointed to a lack of support from several member states during the ongoing war involving the U.S. and Israel against Iran. Rubio stated that the United States will have to re-examine its relationship with the alliance, adding that the final decision will ultimately rest with President Donald Trump. His remarks come amid growing strain between Washington and its traditional allies. In a significant escalation, a major fire has erupted at Kuwait International Airport following what authorities are calling a brazen drone attack. Officials say fuel storage tanks were targeted by drones allegedly launched by Iran-backed groups, triggering a large blaze. Emergency response teams acted swiftly, and while the damage is said to be extensive, no casualties have been reported. In response to the disruption, Saudi Arabia has stepped in to assist stranded passengers, arranging bus services to alternative airports, including King Fahd Airport in Dammam and Kaisuma Airport. Kuwait's airspace remains closed as regional tensions continue to rise. U.S. and Israeli airstrikes are also continuing across Iran, targeting key industrial sites in multiple regions. Reports indicate that pharmaceutical facilities and major steel plants in Isfahan and the nearby city of Farrokhzhar have been hit in the latest wave of attacks. These strikes are part of a broader campaign aimed at weakening Iran's industrial and economic infrastructure, including its steel production and energy sectors. Previous attacks have already disrupted operations at critical facilities, halting production lines and causing significant damage. The escalation underscores mounting pressure on Iran's strategic industries as the conflict continues to widen. Turning to diplomatic efforts, Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar held key talks in Beijing with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi amid rising tensions in the Middle East. Following the meeting, both countries jointly proposed a 5-point peace initiative aimed at ending the ongoing Iran conflict. The plan calls for an immediate ceasefire, urgent peace talks, protection of civilians, and the safeguarding of critical infrastructure and shipping routes. Both sides emphasized that dialogue and diplomacy remain the only viable path to stability, while reaffirming their commitment to strengthening bilateral ties and regional cooperation. For more on this, we go to our Islamabad correspondent, Sarah William. Sarah, what can you tell us?
Thank you, Chris. Officials here in Islamabad say the joint initiative by Pakistan and China is being seen as a significant diplomatic move aimed at de-escalating tensions in the Middle East. Sources indicate that the proposal is already being shared with key international stakeholders in an effort to build consensus. The emphasis remains on an immediate ceasefire and humanitarian protections, particularly as the conflict continues to impact civilian populations and global trade routes. Analysts believe Pakistan's active role reflects its broader commitment to regional stability and multilateral cooperation. Back to you.
Thank you, Sarah, for that update. In other developments, government officials have revealed that LNG supplies are currently under force majeure, making them unavailable for power generation. The disclosure came during a NEPRA public hearing, where authorities stated that the disruption is beyond their control, largely due to the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war involving Iran and the Gulf region. Officials warned that key global fuel supply routes, including the Strait of Hormuz, have been severely affected, contributing to a wider energy crisis. However, they assured that coal imports from South Africa and Indonesia remain stable, helping to sustain power generation. Authorities also confirmed that electricity prices for April will remain unchanged, with measures underway to promote cheaper daytime power usage and minimize consumer impact. Finally, Pakistan's Oil and Gas Regulatory Authority has announced a significant increase in LPG prices for the month of April. According to the latest notification, LPG rates have surged by 35%, raising the cost of an 11.8 kilogram domestic cylinder by over 900 rupees. The new price now stands at approximately 3,038 rupees, compared to 2,664 rupees in March. Officials attribute the sharp increase to rising global market prices, particularly a hike in Saudi Aramco's benchmark rates. The revised prices will remain in effect throughout April, adding further financial pressure on consumers already facing economic challenges. That's all for now. You're watching Pakistan Today News. I'm Chris Taylor.